Hey, horror fans, once again, it is me, the Horror Samani G. Yes, continuing my celebration of the 31 Days of Horror, it's time to take a look at a nice horror film called Love and Monsters. Ha ha ha! Now, Love and Monsters is a 2020 American post-apocalyptic adventure film. It was directed by Michael Matthews. It was written by Brian Duffield. It stars Dylan O'Brien, Jessica Hedwig, Michael Rucker, and Arena Greenblatt. Now, while trying to survive underground during a monster apocalypse, Joel learns that his girlfriend Amy is just 80 miles away. To make the dangerous journey, Joel discovers to his inner hero to be with the girl of his dreams. Yes, he's going to track her across this vast land filled with monsters to go see the girl of his dreams. Yes, who wouldn't do that for the love of your life? Now, we've seen plenty of post-apocalyptic horror films, mainly from the zombie subgenre. You know, Dawn of the Dead, The Walking Dead, whatever type of day or zombie. We have also seen nuclear ones. We see virus ones. We see Mother Nature takes back the Earth ones. Yeah, we've seen plenty of those. But we really haven't seen a monster one, let alone an apocalyptic one that has a feel-good message to it. That's what director Michael Matthews has given us here with Love and Monsters. Starting off fast, we get a short narration at the beginning of the film by Joel Dawson, played by actor Dylan O'Brien of Teen Wolf fame, on how, after using nuclear missiles to stop an asteroid from hitting the Earth, the nuclear fallout causes cold-blooded animals to mutate into giant monsters. We have giant centipedes. We have giant ants. Almost any cold-blooded monster gets affected by it, and all of a sudden, monsters take over. Now, separated from his girlfriend Amy after evacuating from his town, we jump 8 years ahead to see that Joe is living underground with a group of survivors. Now, after contacting Amy on a hand radio and learning that she's only 80 miles away on another camp, Joe decides to trek across the now dangerous world filled with giant monsters ready to make him their next meal. Oh no! Another problem is that Joe's not that good at survival. He keeps freezing up anytime when he has a confrontation with the monsters, and we don't know if he's going to survive. But you know this guy, look, this is the love of my life. I'm going to go see him no matter what. Now, one of the things I like what Matthew has done in this movie is showing how green and lush the land has become since the monsters took over. Yes, we see destruction, we see run-down buildings, broken cars, a few dead bodies over the world. You know, things you normally see in the post-apocalyptic world, but not something as vast and lush and spectacular the way this world is. Yes, it's still a dangerous world, but in this world, life is still thriving. Maybe not for humans, of course, but for other forms of life. Now, I also like how the filmmakers still show, despite how beautiful some areas in this world may look, there's still an element of danger for humans. Now, there's a scene where after Joel meets a dog who he calls Boy, falls into a hole because he wasn't looking where he was going, and there's small but deadly worms in it. Learning that you definitely need to watch where you're stepping when you're walking in this world. There's also this nice scene where Joel knows that there's something in the pool, and we see this giant toad come out, and he starts attacking him. I don't think that they particularly wants to eat a human, but you know, this is what animals do. They see a food source and they're going to eat it. Now, despite the fact the filmmakers use CGI for the monsters, they look fantastic. I mean, you got to give them credit. They really look lifelike. From the giant rock snails to the enormous centipedes, you really have to give the effects team credit for making the creatures look beautiful, deadly, and frightening. Now, Dylan O'Brien, he's pretty good as Joe. I mean, he's such a likable character that you have no choice but to root for him, despite his conditions of always freezing up. Which we learn early on the reason why he keeps freezing up when confronting monsters. For that reason, we know that he's way over his head when he decides to go out on the road. Despite many of the dangers he's facing, you really hope that he can survive and reunite with Amy. Yeah, go, Joe, go! Now, it was nice seeing veteran actor Michael Rucker showing up playing survivor Clyde Dalton. He's kind of the mentor, father figure. He's teaching Joel the ways to survive while out on the road. Kind of reminds me of in Zombieland when Jesse Zuckerberg's character meets Woody Harrelson's character. He shows him some of the ways of how to survive despite Jesse Zuckerberg's rules in how he knows how to survive in Zombieland. But that's similar to what we see with Joel and Clyde. Now, you just have to love Arena Greenblatt is Minnow, the tough as nails girl that is traveling with Dutton. She's such a joy to watch. Probably having to grow up quickly and do the things that little girls shouldn't have to do. Is similar to what you see in children growing up in a post-apocalyptic world. If there is a sequel, I would love to see more of Minnow again in the sequel, if they do one. Now, one of the slight problems I have in this film is the relationship between Joe and Amy. Now, we see them together in the beginning part of the film, but the only fortunately, we really don't see her until right towards the end of the second act. Now, I don't know if it's because we don't see enough of Amy, Jessica Henwick's performance, or her lack of character development, but I simply don't buy the relationship between Joel and Amy. No, it's not that Jessica doesn't do a good job. She does what she can with the material she's given. It's just that it's not enough to convince the audience that Joe and Amy are lovers. We just don't see enough of her to convince her that we're lovers. Now, it could be the fact that, it's been 8 years since they've seen each other. She's obviously had to do things in order to survive. And maybe because of that, that's the reason why we don't see the type of emotions or the chemistry that we should see between people such as Joe and Amy, but that could be the problem. It's just not there. Something is lacking. Another problem I have is the third act, where, as with most apocalyptic films, we learn that humans can be the true monsters than the monsters themselves. However, in this film, it's like the filmmaker simply just threw this in as a last-minute effort, trying to make putting Joe and Amy in danger, and trying to make Joe to become the hero, which supposedly that's basically what the story is supposed to be about. The character growth of Joe being this timid guy who has problems, and to overcoming those problems and becoming the hero that he's supposed to become. However, this particular act doesn't fit the narrative of the story that screenwriters Brian Duffield and Matthew Robinson have crafted. For me, it would have been better to have the camp come under attack by a monster, such as the Sand Crane Gobbler. You'll get called back to Tremors with this one, instead of just putting in bad humans. If you would have done that, you still could have Joe overcome his condition and become the hero while showing Amy being the badass, and they both saved the camp. It would have been better that way. It would have fit the narrative more instead of just throwing in just bad humans. It's a cliche that we've seen plenty of times before, and in this particular movie, it just doesn't fit. Now, I love the running joke Joe hears throughout his travels. There's a nice scene where he encounters a functional Siri Alexa-like robot called Mav1. There's a scene where we see jellyfish out on the screen, and again, it's a beautiful, nice scene, very well lit. You got to give the cinematographers credit for how they not only create the landscape, but that particular night scene, really nice scene. So, despite a couple of flaws, this is a nice Zombieland meets Mad Max film that the whole family can enjoy watching even after the 31 days of Halloween. I think a lot of people will enjoy Love and Monsters. So, I'm going to give Love and Monsters 3 out of my 5 bloody gold coins. Giving it 3 out of my 5 bloody gold coins. Don't expect to see any blood. There's not going to be any blood. Not going to see any guts. This is just a nice, wholesome, very feel-good movie. It's probably one of the few feel-good post-apocalyptic films that you ever see as far as this type of a subgenre for horror. But you really got to give them credit. They did a nice job. And maybe we'll see a sequel based upon the ending. So, horror fans, have you watched Love and Monsters? I believe it's available on Shudder. I can't remember if it is or not. Have you seen it? Did you enjoy it? Did you like the CGI monsters? Because I really thought they did an incredible job with that. Leave your comments in the comment section below and tell me what you thought about Love and Monsters. Also, just a quick note, there's only at least 1 week left for the Ghost of the Misers Halloween giveaway. If you haven't put those videos in yet, please put those videos in now. Leave a tag up there so that way you can see the video right now. So you got 1 week left to get your entries in. I believe the 30th is the last day. So if you get those entries in on the 30th, then that way he will go on ahead and announce the winner on Halloween. So that's my video for today, guys. Hope you did enjoy it. And if you did, please give it a like and share. Also, if you're new here, please hit that subscriber button and ring that notification bell. That way you'll be notified anytime when I put up new videos such as this one. Once again, my name is Lamont Smith, better known as the Horror Miser Monty G, and always remember that horror rules. And I'll see you in my next video. I'm out.